Welcome to CarBiz Confidential, the podcast that gives you strategic insights and methods from dealership experts. I'm your host, Tim Kintz, and I can't wait to show you what we have in store. Look, whether you're in a leadership role, a salesperson, a seasoned veteran, or new to the business, our podcast is here to give you unfiltered inside look on how to become a car selling master or an unstoppable leader. Every episode, we're going to dive deep into the car business's best practices, bring you expert interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and really actionable insights that you can use immediately in your dealership. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our episodes. Today is all about really how to develop your team, how to train, and really transform your training program to get the most out of your people. And I'm lucky enough to have Ray Scozzari here from Denny Menholt Auto Group. We've been friends for 20 plus years working together in the stores. And Ray is the director of training for 11 dealerships. And that's like herding cats. It's not an easy thing to do. So Ray, man, it's good to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always great to get together with you and talk about the business and especially training.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I've been in the business 37 years, the last 19 plus years with Denny Menholt Auto Group, and various positions, and I've been in the training side of it since 2011, 2012, and it's just, I love it. It's a great group, got a great bunch of guys.
Yeah, I mean, your team is as good as it gets. I mean, they have the old school, not afraid to close deals, got the new school embracing video, a little bit of everything, and it takes a good leader, trainer, and coach to actually get guys doing stuff. Hell, we just finished up a trainer-to-trainer class.
We did.
2-day class. It's not even a workshop, man, it's a do shop. And you know better than anybody, but what do you think the biggest thing you learned and all the attendees learned when they were at that trainer-to-trainer workshop about training?
Well, it's structuring something that's relevant. I mean, once you can draw that clear line from the training to the actual benefit and the rewards that come with it,
yeah,
I think it gets easier. And I think a lot of the attendees were really working on the structure of that training so that they made sure they stayed on point.
Yeah.
Car guys, let's face it, we got the attention span of a gnat. If it doesn't catch our attention,
that's right.
You could lose us. And if you don't know what you're talking about, we're out from the get-go. So it was all focused on making sure you're prepped, making sure that you know exactly what you're going to be talking about, practicing that, because for some of them, it was the first time doing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. We talk about it, and it's not easy.
No, guys did more training in those 2 days than they've probably done in their whole careers. It was the mental exhaustion that they had was good and bad, right, at certain times. But I think look, I went through the trainer class years ago when I was in a dealership, and it was 3 days long. And I think the biggest thing I got out of that class was when I went back to the dealership, I needed to apologize to everybody I ever managed.
Yeah.
Because I never did training. All I did was told them what to do, right? We didn't tell them, or we didn't sell them, we would tell them what they needed to do. They were never told, or they were never sold, they were always told. And I think the biggest thing in training in the dealership is to become a sales trainer, not a trainer.
Exactly.
Right? Trainers tell, sales trainers sell. And you think about with you doing training, how have you been able to create buy-in at your dealership from management first? Let's look at the management side. What's been successful for the buy-in part?
Well, I would tell you this. The biggest thing is our top-tier management, our owner, Denny Menholt, COO, Vice President, Randy Point. I mean, it starts at the top. And, they're very focused on things to whatever tool is out there, whatever information is out there, to specifically designed to help grow our people, help them develop so they can develop careers, book a business, and our philosophy is take care of the customer. It comes down to people, processes, and product or advertising. I mean, there's several things that are involved.
Sure.
But it starts with Denny and it starts with Randy.
Yeah.
And they've been in the car business since they were knee high. It's Randy, his dad was in the car business working for a group in South Dakota.
So basically, it's not an option. It's just what we're going to do.
It's not an option, and we take the time. We understand that it's a little different. A lot of guys in our group are old school.
Right.
But there's some good old school.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're taking the good stuff and combining it with the stuff that is relevant today. There's a lot of stuff that you don't want to take from old school.
But I mean, it really is, like you said, it's top down.
It is top down.
Training's not an event; it's a culture.
It's a culture.
You don't just do training one time. It's not like you went to the training class, so now you get a concert shirt and you get to wear it around. It's not like a concert. It's something you do on a regular basis. It's not something you did. And I think that's the hardest thing. That's the best thing, but the hardest thing when I go to your dealerships, that you guys put in the hard work by making sure management knows.
Absolutely.
We're going to go out to Arizona and meet with all the general managers, and we're going to create those processes, right? Because without good processes, it doesn't matter. But everybody's going to be bought in. And I think that's the number one thing that every dealership, doesn't matter if you're a big store, little store, multi-point group, anybody, we have to decide as a management team, what are we going to do? Right? What are the negotiables? What are non-negotiables? And once you identify non-negotiables and every manager's on board, now we can start moving forward with our training.
Absolutely. And Denny and Randy will be in every one of those as they have in the past.
Yeah.
It's not a do as I say, not as I do. It's they're involved. I believe Randy went to one of the workshops before joining, partnering with you.
Right.
And walked out of that workshop, a manager's workshop, and said, man, we're pretty good, but we're not as good as I thought we were, and there's a lot of room for improvement.
Right.
We did a great job. We have good people. But there was so much more available to us. And so
well, I think you guys have also noticed, even when you have 100% buy-in and you launch something that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be relaunched. Like you guys have PermaGuard, the aftermarket product that you guys sell. How many times have you relaunched and created buy-in with your team?
I need both hands and both feet, plus probably some of yours. It takes time. I mean, a culture just doesn't happen. It starts and you build on it, and it's that again top tier leadership on down. Fish rots from the head first.
So tell me about your salespeople. How do you create buy-in with them? If I'm a small store, I don't have a dealer principal, a COO, I don't have GMs, it's the GSM and 2 sales managers. Yeah, we're all bought in. Mm-hmm. How do I get my salespeople to actually do the stuff?
Well, number one, again, it comes back to Denny and Randy being there and focused. And they understand Denny and Randy. They're not going to bring them something that they don't believe has value. But for myself, been in the business 37 years.
Yeah.
I think my body of work and everything from being a service writer to a sales consultant, a team leader, and all of the GM, GSM stuff, those positions, I think that I've earned some level of respect, throughout. And then the biggest thing I got to tell you is, like some of the people at the workshop, hey, what's the secret sauce? The secret sauce is you got to be able to do what you're coaching and training them on being able to do. So I go into the stores. And I don't just go in and tell them what to do and then leave and, whatever happens, happens. Yeah. I go work the floor, take TOs. As a floor manager, I work the desk, pencil deals, as well as the coaching and the training. And when they see that you can do what you're asking them to do and that it works, I mean, it's a natural buy-in.
Yeah, versus do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Right? That's everybody. I think sometimes we forget management needs training as much as salespeople. Mm-hmm. It's okay, we all know that salespeople need to have their greetings scripted. Hey, but do we have our stuff scripted?
Exactly.
When I do an early management flyby, is that scripted out? When I go out and take a TO, have we practiced how to take a TO if they haven't landed a customer on a car, a post-demo TO? Yeah. What do we say, what do we cover? And even a pre-negotiation interview going out there as managers. But I think we all have to remember, man, in the car business, that last few years, it hadn't been the car business, man. We haven't been selling cars, people have been buying cars from us. And whether it's the pre-demo trade walk, whether it's doing walkarounds, whether it's closing, overcoming objections, negotiating, we really haven't had to use those skills.
No.
And it's the old use it or lose it. Mm-hmm. And man, I'm totally empathetic to everybody that, we're not very good at this. You're right, because you haven't had to be. And as the business comes back to being what the business was, man, we got to practice, right? And wouldn't you agree the practice is a huge part of the training?
Oh, it's the key to it. I mean, if you don't practice those skills, all it is just information.
Yeah.
You do the training, give them the knowledge. You work on the skills by role playing, active skill development and actually doing it. And I don't mean, hey, give me meet and greet, hey, I'd change that if I were you and go do something else. It's actually spending some time to work and develop on the skill that you're working on at the time. And to be careful that you don't try working on 5 or 6 things at once.
Yeah, less is more.
Less is more. I mean, get one thing nailed down, go to the next thing. And it's bad habits are formed in good times right. And good habits are formed when times are tougher.
Right.
And you're right. The industry is making a shift again. It's always moving.
Right.
It's never static. There's always something happening and changes in the industry, whether it be from the customer's buying power to the manufacturers to supply chip shortages. It's always changing. And
2019 is right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Car business again.
Exactly.
Everybody having a race to the bottom.
Exactly. I mean, before it was our clothing was, hey, do you have one?
Right.
I got one. If you don't want it, it's okay. I got 5 other people.
Well, as a salesperson or manager, I sold off a computer screen or I sold off an invoice sheet.
Yeah.
It was the kiosk could have done basically what we were doing. Now we have to get good again. And it's I say it a million times. Selling cars can be the easiest high-paying job you ever have, or it can be the hardest low-paying job you ever have.
And it's been pretty easy and high-paying lately.
Oh yeah, and it sucks when you're no good. Selling cars sucks if you're no good, because you get your teeth kicked in from customers 3 or 4 times a day, and you're not making any money, making minis and all that. And it's learning how to be able to sell the car, hold gross, negotiate, get commitments from customers. And I think as management team and as individual salespeople, we all have to get disciplined again on doing the training, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And the great part is everybody's on board.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing their training. Some stores do it every day at each shift. Some do it twice a week on a Friday and a Monday. But it's just that discipline to actually do it.
Right.
And that's the key to everything. I mean, motivation wanes after a period of time.
Well, and don't you hear people say, well, we'll start training next month. Right? They always wait for the perfect time. Perfection's the enemy of progress. If you wait for the perfect time to do something, there's never going to be a perfect time. It's just do it. Ready, fire, aim when you're training. And get up and start holding training, because it's, okay, maybe it sucks, but it's better than nothing. And it's that repetition.
It's a mother of learning.
That's right. You have to do it over and over. And I think there's some key mistakes, right, that happen with training. Like in your stores, everybody's not on the same speed. They don't all need the same skills.
That's the
What
challenge.
are some mistakes you've seen in your stores that you have to get everybody back on track with?
Well, I think we have to be careful of training everybody on one particular skill.
Yeah.
I mean, there's meetings that you hold where you share some knowledge and some new stuff. And then the magic happens, in my opinion, is when you have those, hey, I need you, and you.
Right.
Give me 5-10 minutes of your time. And you work individually on those 2 or 3 guys that maybe it's bypassing.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to talk to the guy who's really good at bypassing about bypassing, because he'll tune out.
Yeah.
Then I go find the guys that maybe it's the greeting.
Yep.
You know, what's happening? You know, where's it going wrong? At hello. But you got to make sure that you're not. You know, it's like customers. You know, even though they're all different, we got to treat them the same. It's the same with the training. We have to treat them the same by training them.
Right.
We just have to make sure we know our team and what each person needs, because they need different things at different times.
It's got to be a repeatable process that
Absolutely.
everybody can do. If you don't have a good repeatable process, then we can't duplicate success.
Yeah, you're better off with that. We'll do training next month, or free beer tomorrow.
Yeah, I
Right?
think
Never
basically
comes.
what you're saying, number one is we can't put it off.
No.
Right? Training's got to be a priority. Number 2, we have to have set processes, whether it's our training process, whether it's our selling process. It's got to be very clear.
It has to be, and you have to have accountability.
Yeah, and I think as managers, we got to know the skills, or we have to have a video or somebody to show them the skills. That's like, but I think you got to be careful with just having like Kintz now. All right, we watch a video on the sold real close or the 4 C's, and we turn the lights out, have them watch the video. They watch the video, we're done.
Right.
Okay, well, that's just gaining some knowledge. That'd be like me having my kids watch Dora the Explorer and think they're going to learn Spanish because they use 2 Spanish words in there. It's the same thing with our salespeople. They don't learn how to sell just because they watched a 7-minute video one time. It's that repetition. But I think having them practice, making the guys practice, it can't be optional. It's non-negotiable.
If you make it optional, they'll always find something else to be doing.
Right.
I got to get this done. I'm waiting on an appointment, or I got to play Candy Crush. There's always something that they feel is more important at the time. We have to make it important. And again, I think it comes down to drawing that clear line.
Yeah.
Hey, you started here, we worked on this and this, and man, look at that. You sold an extra 2 units this month. And we have to recognize that throughout the month, just not wait till the end.
Yeah, we got to track what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So often we don't tie any tracking to our training, so therefore we end up managing and training by feelings, not facts.
Exactly.
I don't care about your feelings. I want to know facts. What are we good at? What are we not good at?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to train on what we're not good at. We're going to track it, and we're going to see improvement. Because salespeople have that mindset. I want to see it work before I try it. Instead of learning it, making it work, and getting success, they want to see it work. And we have to battle through that boredom, right? Because when you agree, practicing selling skills sucks. It's boring.
Boring.
It's reading scripts, no feedback. I'd rather hit golf balls, shoot free throws, or hitting the batting cage because I know immediately if I'm any good.
Absolutely.
Selling skills, I don't know until I go on the lot. So I think we got to power through that boredom as management.
Yeah, we do. And we have to know and be able to execute what we're training on, or what we're coaching, or what we tracked and picked what areas we want to improve on or can improve on.
Yeah, and I don't think, like, for you got to know the skill really good.
Yeah.
As good, if not better, than everybody in the store, because that's your focus.
Yep.
If I'm a sales manager, man, I think the best leadership quality, and some of them are saying, look, guys, I'm not real good at this skill. I haven't had to use it in 3 years either. I'm going to mess up. We're all going to mess up, but that's how we're going to learn.
Yep.
And if you can be humble like that as a leader, then you have no fear of being the expert when you're doing your training class, because you're learning with them.
Absolutely.
And you have to fight the fear.
Yeah, it has to be organic, just like when you cut a video. You can't cut a perfect video. I mean,
Right.
There's going to be some things that you always go back and think you could have done better.
Well, maybe you can't.
Yeah, did you forget my clothes at the trainer trainer or what?
Yeah, exactly. What about management? Getting all the like in your stores, do all the managers hold training? Is it just one manager in each store typically? What are you guys doing on that?
Each store is a little different. You know, we have some stores that have broken salespeople into little pods, little teams. And so we got 4 managers. Okay, we got 20 salespeople. You have these five guys and gals. You have these 5, these 5, these 5.
Yeah.
And then they rotate them. So each manager is getting an opportunity. I have other stores where, it's this week, it's your turn, be prepared by the time we get to Friday for the meeting. Others are strictly just sharing the knowledge, and then just 1 or 2 doing the actual role play and skill development.
Right.
We have 11 different stores with 11 different personalities.
Sure.
And the greatest thing about our top tier menagement, our owner and Denny Menholt and Randy Point, they give us the autonomy, or the GMs, the autonomy to run their store as they see fit, as long as we're accomplished and executing the plan.
Right.
And we know exactly what we need to work on when he asks us a question. Because Denny doesn't ask you a question, Randy don't ask you a question that they don't already know the answer to. So with the managers, it's become a culture.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a huge believer that every manager in the sales department should be part of the training.
including F&I.
Yeah. Best way to learn is to teach it.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have some guys that never did follow-up when they were selling, but they get up and start training on follow-up. They'll start believing they actually did it. If you've got 5 managers, then you should only hold training every 5th day, because every manager is going to hold it. And really, in the dealership, in most people's situations, they're really just a training facilitator. You're not a sales trainer so much as you're facilitating the training. You introduce a topic, you talk about the situation you're going to use it, you hit play on Kintz Now, then you discuss the video, you practice for 15 minutes, you're done.
Yep.
I mean, really,
It's simple and easy.
Yeah, I think we overthink training. Think it's got to be some creative, fun game all the time. I think.
And you have to be careful with that.
What's that?
Trying to have fun, because if you start, just like we did a couple times myself in the Train the Trainer, you ask a question before the setup and catch them kind of flat-footed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure training is a no negative zone, right?
Exactly.
So I never want to put a person in a position to fail.
No.
Right. If I look at salesperson, and like if I have a salesperson named Brandy, I may look at her and say, all right, what's your best price? I want to hear bypass for it.
Exactly.
Well, I know she doesn't have a clue, because she's brand new and never been trained on it. So she's going to fail. And if she fails, then what'll happen? Then she'll be shut down forever, because she doesn't know what she doesn't know yet.
Exactly.
But over time, I got Brandon. He's been selling cars for a long time. I know he already knows it. He's set up for success. He's going to be able to nail it, and he's not going to fail in front of the group, right? So I think it's making sure we don't put people in position to fail.
I
we put
totally
them in position
agree.
to succeed, and that's the no negative zone part of the training.
Yeah.
And it's just having fun. I think we got to bring the fun and competition back to dealerships.
We do.
It's the volleyballs. I think you guys have the volleyballs you use.
In every store, and I use them in the workshops each time we have one.
Yeah, the questions, bypass, fabs, objections, whatever it is, whether it's the heavy hitter set to support your training, build and burn to support the closing ratios. I think we have to look at the fun, because it's a grind sometimes in a dealership. And if we don't have fun, if we don't have games, if we don't have competition, then training's not fun. People start pushing back, and that's the first thing we quit doing.
Absolutely. It's just the same thing over and over again. And
Right.
if you don't change it up, you're going to lose the engagement, which then is going to affect your buy-in.
And then if you don't get good buy-in, then our guys aren't any good. Then the guys aren't any good, they don't make any money.
No.
And if they're not making enough money,
They leave.
and they go drive a truck for Prime and make a $3,000 guarantee instead of potentially 6 figures.
Yeah.
It's that turnover thing is, I mean, you think about turnover now. We were lucky going through COVID, chip shortage, all that people were making money in spite of themselves. Well, now all of a sudden, I'm going to have to be able to offset. Look, grosses are going down. There's compression on gross. Gross is going to go down. You're going to make less money per car. So I got to offset that with volume, right? And even if I'm in a store that doesn't pay on commission, I check the bank only takes gross. They take dollars. They don't take how many RDRs we had last month. If we lost money on every car, I can't pay the banks with our volume. I pay the banks with our gross. So we have to make sure that turnover doesn't become a challenge. But no matter what, we're going to have turnover. Like onboarding, new hire training. What's your whole process on that?
Well, we bring them into the store, and the managers sign a mentor. And they spend some time with a mentor, 30 to 45, maybe even up to 60 days.
So a salesperson they kind of mirror?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, like an assistant. And then what happens is we schedule a new hire workshop. We bring them in to our Billings Training Center in Billings, Montana. We have a 3-day training workshop on new hire skills.
So just the whole
starting from the meet and greet. You know, first give them the why we're doing this, and then we just start at the meet and greet. We work all the way through the meet and greet, the pre-demo trade walk, the bypassing, handling objections, the demo, how to execute a demonstration drive correctly. I mean, the demo is the active skill, the active part of the presentation.
Feel the wheel seals the deal, man.
All the way through the permaguard, then the negotiation, how to handle objections. So, and then we send them back, and we have the person that was mentoring them, their mentor, keep an eye on them, and gradually after they get, it's really good in a workshop because you can make the mistake there.
Right.
You make the mistake in front of a customer. There's a lot of things that
they're going to practice on each other, not on the customer.
Exactly, and so the mentor keeps an eye. When they get into a little bit of trouble, they get back in, but then they start just getting a little further, and next thing you know.
Well, and here's what I'll say: even if you're not a big group like you guys, onboarding is critical. When you bring new people on, so often I just see them throw them out on the floor and they have Captain Wrinkle, the 6-car guy. Hey, would you teach him how to sell cars?
He's the only one available.
Yeah, and Captain Wrinkle, he's never selling cars, and if you're lucky, he'll teach them how to become 5-car Fred instead of Captain Wrinkle, and they never get better, right? Your salespeople aren't there to train. Your salespeople are there to sell cars. Management's there to train. So what I would suggest is have a very clear onboarding program. Onboarding on the dealership culture, values, and story. Onboarding on the selling skills, face-to-face. Selling skills with digital retailing. All the way through the whole process. But man, I'm a believer that it should be 2-3 weeks before they're ever on a floor. And I think, if we're not careful right now, we're going to have a tidal wave of turnover in the car business, because as soon as these guys start making less money, business gets hard, we're going to lose a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to have that onboarding. That's why on Kintz Now, we break it up and have all the fundamental skills for everybody to learn in the fast start. So now everybody can get up to speed before they ever breathe on that first customer.
Absolutely.
I want that breath to be a good breath on the customer and not going out and their loss is last year's Easter egg on what to say. It has to be planned out. And I want to remind every manager, people are not a distraction. Your people aren't a distraction. Your people are your purpose. Right? You're there because of your people. And if you don't look at your people as an investment, and you hired them, you hired their family, you owe it to them to get them ready to go, you're going to have massive turnover. And we all know you have a lot of turnover, you're going to have bad customer CSI, bad experiences, low profits. And man, you want to have a hard job, have a team of Greenpeace. Be like herding cats.
It is herding cats.
Be like you catching people sleeping in their car. I always love, I've been doing this 30 plus years, 33 years, you've been 37. And I'm never shocked at all the stories I hear in the car business. And whenever I think I've heard it all or seen it all, then I find out that I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. But tell us about that one about when you opened up Tahoe or whatever it was.
No, it was you're talking about
the conversion van.
The conversion van.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really old days now.
No, that's very old days. We were downtown in Billings, and we were right by the railroad tracks. And so anyway, we have our morning meeting. Everybody gets pumped up and get this early opportunity. Customer comes in. We have at that time we stocked conversion vans. We had 10, 12, 15, 20 of them. And get this customer, and we're going through the conversion vans, and we always open vehicles and put the keys above the visor, so they were open. And we get to the back, and I wanted to show them, here's the room for your stuff. The room up there is for you. I open it up, and the salesperson just out like a light. And I just go, don't mind that. This is Dan. He usually rejoins us about 1. Close the door. Let me show you this one, right? And we've even found some people that were like transients.
Was he hungover?
I think he was still drunk.
Yeah, that's right. It's, if you ever need a nap, that's how you finally get up. Just go take a nap in a Tahoe and wait for a customer to walk by.
They wake you up.
Yeah, you're doing a walk around. You never know. You find a guy passed out in the back, and you just got to keep rolling with the punches. But it's teaching our guys to do it so good that they're not thinking about what they're doing.
No.
Right? That's what good training is.
It's instinct.
Yeah. And I'll tell everybody, to me, if you hold training class, how do you measure success, right? People always say, how do I know if I did a good training class? To me, it's very simple. Are your people better at the end of the 30-minute training class than they were at the beginning? If the answer is yes, it was an effective training class. If it's maybe, then it wasn't effective training, right? So it's just making sure that we're creating buy-in. We're giving them the how-to in the training, and we're supporting them after training's over.
You got to have the support. A lot of times we have a workshop, and the manager say, so how'd it go? I say, you know what? I believe it went well.
Right.
From the bottom of my heart. But you know what? Talk to your people and watch what they do, and that's going to be the proof. Are they progressing? Are they doing a good job? Are they following the basics and the things that we talked about?
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching it, probably has questions. We got small stores, big stores, everything in between. They're doing their training program. Some are getting ready to start it, some haven't started, some are knee deep in their training program. And they're probably going to have questions. Well, everybody knows they can reach out to Kintz Group. If somebody want to call you up to get some ideas, are you open to that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, send me an email, give me a call. My cell phone, it's not a national secret.
So we'll post your phone number. You're on LinkedIn,
Instagram.
Aren't you an influencer on TikTok yet?
Not yet.
You're working on
My
that.
wife won't let me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You have to get a permission slip.
I have to get permission slip.
That's exactly right. Man, I strongly suggest reach out to him. He's dealing with the same stuff you guys are. Whether it's recruiting people, hiring, training, it's everybody's got to be a resource. That's my whole goal with this podcast. I don't want to just have a bunch of crap that we spew out and ideas and thoughts you can't do. I want actionable items that are actually going to make a difference. So, I thank everybody for tuning in to this episode of CarBiz Confidential. Hope that you guys found something valuable, or at least got a takeaway that you're going to be able to bring back to the dealership to make a difference. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on the episodes. Until next time, remember to embrace every challenge as an opportunity and never underestimate the impact that small steps have towards achieving your goals.